Hey guys, it's Christy here, and welcome back to another episode of Tangle Tower. I think probably the last episode. In the previous episode, we discovered the 2 basement rooms. And it seems like this might be the last room we have to look at. It's also nighttime now. Wow, that was loud. But let's go on up.
A ladder.
Want to go up?
The Hidden Heart. Whoa.
Is that a crab?
It's got a translucent exoskeleton. You can actually see its insides.
Also, crabs normally have 2 claws, right? Not 3? Ugh. You sure we should be touching it?
Grimoire, don't you think it looks familiar?
The limbs of the creature can be rotated and the claws can be opened and closed? Ew! Okay, well, I don't know what we're supposed to do
This
with
crab
this.
really reminds me of something.
That little wooden toy we found?
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to help us. I think I've seen it more recently.
Oh, in the picture book! Maybe the picture book shows us how we need to position it. Oh, these are like... I didn't realize it gave us a whole second tab for these. Okay, so like that?
Perfect.
A crossbow!
What's this?
Something somebody didn't want us to find.
And there's no notes about it.
What is it?
Okay. The murder
You know, in
weapon.
any normal room, this thing would be my main concern. In here, though, it barely makes the top 3. Who are all the people in this photo?
Not sure, but it looks like someone didn't like them very much. Their eyes have all been crossed out.
A photograph in a sturdy wooden frame. It's dusty and it looks several years old. A brass plaque at the bottom of the frame reads, "The Ambassadors of Misted Mansion." The photo shows 2 women and 3 men, all wearing a variety of different style clothing. All 5 people have had their faces crudely covered in black ink.
That photo is important. I'm sure of it.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty fair assumption.
It's a wooden pinboard, hung up on one of the chains.
Looks like there's a couple of things missing from it.
Wait, it's the pictures of Hawkshaw. Wait. A large central piece of paper has been pinned to it. 4 lines have been drawn from a gap in the center. A small sheet underneath features drawings resembling the silhouette of a cloaked figure.
They called this room a study?
What would you call it?
The secret death chamber of doom.
Sounds about the same.
An axe and some kind of hunting rifle, mounted on the wall.
Honestly, doesn't look like they've been moved in a few years.
I'm more worried about the third one.
The third one?
The one that isn't there.
Yeah, the crossbow used to be there. We already found that.
Do those look like scratch marks to you? On the glass?
Yeah. They're on the inside.
Creepy.
Coffee table, half-empty wine bottle, lamp left on. I'm gonna say someone's been using this room.
Someone complacent enough to leave their notebook lying around.
Well, I mean, no one seems to know this room exists, so... Well, actually, I don't know if they know. Several pages have been ripped out, but a few remain. 5th ambassador located, finally. Can't say I harbored any optimism, but still somehow disappointed. No better than the rest of them. Took my misted friend into the music room for experiments. It worked, perhaps too well. The laboratory was another disappointment. All that effort for what? He's even more short-sighted than I could have guessed. Went to the bottom. Nice view. It's been mostly cleaned out, but I have what I need. She got in. She was careful. Nothing was moved. But I know. It's time.
An incinerator built into the wall. It's still pretty hot.
Is there anything left inside?
It's mostly ashes. But yeah, there's something.
The feather! Not much more than a pile of dust and ashes. Among the ashes there are several black buttons. Red-colored scraps of fabric are still visible. What about the very clearly obvious feather?
Someone's been using this room.
Those aren't bird cages.
Some of them are disconcertingly large.
At least they're all empty.
You sure that's a good thing? Some kind of fish and a bird skull, I guess?
If that's a bird skull, we're talking about a 15-foot bird here.
Well, how about we stop talking about it?
I think I've clicked on everything now. So we'll talk to Sally. The study.
I don't get it. This room is in the original building plans for the mansion, but nowadays it's some big secret?
It's not a secret to everybody. At least one other person still knows about this room.
Oops, I accidentally paused
The
it.
way the notebook was left out on the table makes me think it's someone who has the room all to themselves.
Whoever it was, they left more than just the notebook. There's a whole design project on this pinboard. Feels like someone put quite a bit of effort into it.
It's a shame there are things missing from it. I'm betting it'd make more sense if we could see it all together.
That might not be impossible, you know.
Yeah, I think we have all the things for that. But this one is in here, I think. I think it's this, right? And then this matches up with this.
The painting from Freya's room and those sketches. Did Freya design Detective Hawkshaw's clothes? What kind of sense does that make?
I don't think that's why Freya made that painting, but it may have been why somebody took a photo of it to use as reference. And as for those sketches of Hawkshaw, I don't think Freya actually drew them. It was somebody else, someone with less of a talent for art.
Doesn't exactly narrow it down. Should we go ask Detective Hawkshaw about all this?
I'm not sure. I still don't know what's really going on.
Another photograph.
Their faces are all crossed out with some kind of black ink.
That's weird.
Oh, you think so?
No, I mean, something I just realized. Sally, did we meet any of these people here at Tangle Tower?
Well, the woman on the left looks a little like Poppy, but her style is way different. And at first I thought the guy on the top right was Felix, but now that I look at it, I don't think it is him.
Yeah, I think I'm assuming they're like the heads of the families.
Was someone trying to hide it? From us?
I don't know, but it looks incomplete to me. I want to know what happened to the rest of it. Where are the other parts?
I think we found them already.
We found them already.
So, this thing, that's the bolt. The real thingy.
I think that might attach the crossbow, but not this part of the crossbow.
Oh, okay. What attaches to the top? I'm actually not entirely sure. Oh, the lens!
What do you make of it?
Not sure. Let's keep an open mind.
You don't think the crossbow is the murder weapon?
Oh no, the crossbow is definitely the murder weapon. But that doesn't mean we've solved the mystery.
The murder.
Time to solve this.
All right, break out the notebook. Time to put it all together.
Let's start with this. It's an arrow for the crossbow, and it matches Freya's wound. It's the murder weapon. I'm sure of it.
Despite the fact it doesn't have any blood on it, and it wasn't found anywhere near the crime scene.
Mm-hmm. It was cleaned, then it was hidden. I don't think anybody expected us to get down to that room at the bottom of the lake.
Okay, so Freya was shot by a crossbow. Where was it fired from?
It was fired from above Freya, it was fired from in front of Freya, it was fired from behind Freya. It was fired from above
It was
Freya.
fired from above Freya.
Above, huh?
Yeah, our diagram doesn't show everything. Let's add in the rest of the crime scene.
The attic.
Perfect hiding place. We even found a part of the murder weapon up there. The reel was used to pull the arrow back up through the crack in the floorboards.
Explains why we never found a weapon at the crime scene, I guess.
The murderer must have dropped the reel in the attic. I'm guessing they were in a hurry to escape.
Wait. The arrow was fired through the crack in the floorboards?
Yeah, it's directly above where Freya was found lying on her back.
Nope. Doesn't add up. It would have missed her if she was still standing up by the painting.
Ah, right.
Unless...
Freya was never hit by the arrow. The arrow fired diagonally. Freya was already lying on her back.
Freya was already lying on her back before the arrow was fired.
I think so too.
She was relaxing, she'd fallen unconscious, she'd already been killed. She'd fallen
She'd
unconscious.
fallen unconscious.
Something in the room caused Freya to fall unconscious.
Paint fumes. Gramophone. Flora. I think it's a
The gramophone.
Right.
But the gramophone by itself can't do that.
It was the music being played. The gramophone emits a poisonous gas. There was something in the gramophone. This is one situation where I'm not sure if I would know this, but I do actually remember. There's something in the gramophone.
There was something in the gramophone.
Mm-hmm. Something small.
I think is it the golden beetle? Oh yeah, it fends off predators with a loud hiss recorded over 95 decibels.
Pointer's research says it can emit an incredibly loud hiss when it feels threatened. Poppy and Fitz both said they heard a loud noise around the time of the murder. Neither of them had any idea what it was.
This seems a little far-fetched. Is it really loud enough to knock someone out?
No, I don't think so, not by itself. But don't forget, it was being amplified by the shape of the gramophone. Now, I don't think we're purely talking about volume either. It might just be a particular type of frequency.
This is getting kinda scientific. Since when do you know anything about the effects of weaponized audio frequency?
I don't, but I think someone else does. Do you remember that statue we found in the music room? The horn it's playing. It's a pretty similar shape to the one on the gramophone. That broken glass isn't there on accident. This is someone's science experiment.
Thinking about it, Pointer said he saw Flora was knocked out too. I guess they were both in range of the noise, although Pointer might have been lying.
Personally, I think he was telling the truth about that. It's pretty clear a powerful frequency did pass through Flora's tower. Caused quite a bit of damage too.
Yeah. Because of the gramophone.
Those cracks didn't appear out of nowhere. Freya's paints, the pink cassette tape, and the gramophone itself, they all sustained similar damage while they were in that room.
That's some seriously powerful vibration, enough to crack metal, enough to knock someone out all the way across a room.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't get. If the frequency was so powerful and had such a big range, how did the murderer pull it off? Wouldn't they have been in range too? Think about it. They can't have been much further away from the gramophone than Flora was.
I would imagine... Okay, they were knocked unconscious, they protected themselves, they were much further away. I would imagine if this whole thing was planned out, they would have worn, like, earplugs or something.
They protected themselves.
How?
Oh, like these! That's why they were on the statue.
These are some pretty heavy-duty earmuffs. I think they'd be enough to block out the sound.
Right. Let's go over everything from the start. 1. Freya is painting Flora's portrait. They're listening to music on the gramophone.
2. The murderer is hiding in the attic, wearing earmuffs.
3. The golden beetle starts to emit its hissing noise.
Hold on. How did it know?
The beetle?
Yeah, what triggered it at that particular moment? Pointer's research said it makes the noise when it feels threatened.
I'm not sure. Maybe something in the music?
Maybe.
4. Freya and Flora are both knocked unconscious by the vibrations. Freya lands on her back. She drops the brush and palette by her side.
5. The murderer fires the crossbow directly downwards.
6. The arrow is pulled back up on the reel.
7. The murderer leaves the attic, presumably.
8. The door is kicked down. Fitz and Poppy enter the room.
That's it. There's something bothering me.
What?
I just want to check something. Let's go back to the crime scene.
Okay. I'd imagine if we're assuming our theory is correct, then that would clear Fitz and Poppy of being the murderer because they were there too quickly. Okay, so what are we checking? I'm guessing the gramophone?
The answer is in the painting. I'm sure of it.
The answer's... Wait, Is it that there's a second pot that's not there?
The plant. It's in the book.
What?
Look.
Oh. And?
Freya, did you leave us a clue?
Wait. Okay. It was that for some reason. I missed clicking on that one. The missing clue.
So what's bothering you?
Something that's not here. The thing we didn't find. We know she was holding it during the painting.
Flora's ink-dip feather?
It was here. In this room. Where'd it go?
It's in the... We found it. We found it in the furnace.
Found it somewhere else.
It was... I don't know why it wasn't stated, but it's very clearly right there.
We were a little too late to save it.
So it was stolen from the crime scene. And ended up in the incinerator down in the study.
Someone wanted to destroy it, I guess.
But how? How was it stolen from up here in Flora's tower?
Presumably, Flora dropped it when she fell unconscious.
Yeah, and then what? The murderer couldn't have stolen it if they were up in the attic.
So the question is, how could they steal something from a room they weren't able to access? The final clue.
The birds.
About the crime scene. Freya left it for us right here.
Like, I think it's in the painting?
It's in the unfinished painting. It's not quite a photo, but still, it's an image of the crime scene recorded just before the murder. If only she'd finished it. Then I could be totally sure.
It's true she never finished it. But she did intend to finish it.
Meaning?
We know more about the painting than what Freya actually got down on the canvas.
We do? How did Freya show us her intentions for the painting? Oh, I just realized this is her talking about what we just went through. This is her getting to the study.
That's not it.
I still don't know what it wants me to find, though.
Freya prepared all the colors she was going to need
Oh,
before she
okay.
started painting.
I clicked on the paints thinking that, and then I didn't click on the palette for some reason. Okay. The yellow was gonna be used to paint the sketch of something sitting in the window.
The yellow paint was going to be used to paint the sketch of something sitting in the window.
Something in the window. Oh.
This bird. The big yellow bird. So it wasn't a... That's so funny! The bird is the exact shape of the pot, so it just looks like there's two potted plants.
There she is. Our little thief.
How long has it been there? Did it hear the whole conversation?
She did. But she's a very good listener.
Waksha.
Well now, I think this has quite served its purpose, don't you?
Whoa.
Penny, why did you...
It's Penelope, if you don't mind. But before we begin, isn't there a certain formality demanding our attention?
Tie her hands? The rope.
Lovely. Now, tell me, what was it that drove you this far? I'm ever so curious.
Justice for Freya. I want to help Freya's friends. I just need to know the truth.
I just need to know the truth.
Is that right? Interesting.
Why did you do it, Penny? What did Freya do to you?
Absolutely nothing.
So, what? You just hated her indiscriminately?
Freya Fellow was an inspiration to us all. She was possessed of a great energy. The volition to create something from nothing. The willpower to walk beyond her boundaries. She was truly free. Everything I couldn't be.
You know what? I just realized I actually have no idea who Penelope Pointer really is.
Weird, isn't it? Considering we've met her, 3 times now?
Exactly. How do we know this one isn't a disguise too?
You think you've already hollowed us out, don't you? Only a few short hours at Tangle Tower, and you feel like you've got everyone sussed. Unearthed every single one of our secrets. Nothing but bullet points for your notebook. Go on, indulge me. What does it say in your notes about Penelope Pointer? I suppose I can't argue with that, can I?
Penny, we only know what you choose to tell us, so why not help us out?
Very well. Penelope Pointer is actually not very important at all. She pales in comparison to those who came before her and to those that came after. Living at Tangle Tower, it is very difficult to attain the levels of self-realization you probably take for granted.
You sure this is a Tangle Tower thing, and not a you thing?
Perhaps you didn't notice. Not one of them is happy, not one.
So why stay? Why not just leave?
I thought she did leave. Penny, you said you traveled, didn't you?
I did. Many times I've walked away. It did not help me. You saw the family tree hanging in the grand hall, did you not?
Yeah, it lists a bunch of people who don't live here anymore.
A bunch of people who don't live here anymore. I couldn't have put it better myself. My mother, for one. My father, too. The other 2 Remingtons. Poppy's mother, Primrose. And her brother, Richard.
And Fitz's father.
That's 5. 5 people that might have lived here. but don't.
And that was the first question I wanted answered.
You wanted to know where they'd all gone?
More than that, I wanted to know if I belonged with them. I have no place here. Not among the Fellows, the Remingtons, or the Pointers. But I felt there must be a reason why everyone else left. Some common purpose they all shared. Perhaps it could be my purpose too.
So, what did you actually do about it?
Nothing I could do, at first. Nobody would tell me anything. The more questions I asked, the fewer answers I got. Then, I found it. I was 19. Same age Freya is now.
Found what?
The study.
The study. The one hidden in the middle of the house. It's right next to a bedroom.
I'd hear voices at night. Deep ones. And the strangest thing, the wall behind my bed would get incredibly hot. For hours on end. The paint would peel. Wallpaper wouldn't stay up. I thought I was cursed. I thought it was something trying to break through. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I found my way in the same way you did. Once you know it's there, it's simple.
So, you got into the study and found the incinerator. That must have been a relief, right?
It was still warm when I found it. Then, I looked inside.
Oh. I know I haven't talked much. It's hard to, commentate when they're giving us the big lore drop and we're finally solving the mystery.
Let's see how thorough you've been. Tell me, do you know what a misted is?
Misted?
What?
As I expected. After all, their connection to the Freya case is minimal, at least at the surface.
Sorry, what are we talking about?
It's a collective term, from before my time. Birds, insects, amphibians, anything living off the lake water. The mutation can take several generations, or it can happen overnight.
Wait, mistids, like cryptids, like Bigfoot or whatever.
A little egregious, isn't it? I suspect that was an intentional parallel. The main difference being mistids are perfectly real. They're just kept secret. Or at least, that was the original plan. As it happened, some got out. Quite a few got out.
How do you know all this?
When I entered the study at 19, I found a single object that rather changed my life. Something which answered my questions while at once creating all new ones.
I was gonna say, I was wondering what happened to her eyeshadow. I think this character design is meant to be like a cross between her as Penelope and her as Hawkshaw. And also kind of different at the same time. But, I'm assuming it's this, maybe?
The 5 missing family members standing together as a single unit, calling themselves the ambassadors of Misted Mansion.
So, the house was renamed from Misted Mansion to Tangle Tower?
And rightly so. The age of Misted Mansion is long past. When I looked inside the incinerator on my first visit to the study, I found nothing but ash. The afterimage of a bygone era denied to me in its entirety. The study, the room at the bottom of the lake itself. All empty shells. I felt my only hope lay with the ambassadors. If I could find them, maybe they'd share the family history that Flora and the others were trying so hard to forget.
How did you track them down?
It was tough. They'd taken almost everything. Books, maps, charts. The creatures themselves, all lost. Taken away or destroyed. But I got lucky. I got a lead. I found one, and he led me to the rest.
And? What happened? Why'd you paint out all their faces?
They didn't help you either, did they?
19-year-old me had imagined they'd all left with a mission, a unified purpose, but they hadn't. They were, in fact, every bit as fractured as the people that still live here. Most of them had left tracking escaped mystics. Some claimed to be researchers, others little more than hunters. All 5 completely useless to me.
Even your own parents?
Eventually, I returned to Tangle Tower. I had nowhere else to go. I considered giving up. But instead, I made a decision.
Did she kill all of them too, or did she just leave them disgruntledly?
There was only one person at Tangle Tower still of interest to me. My dear Uncle Pointer had suddenly made a show of taking up astronomy. A fairly superficial charade. I don't think many people were fooled by it. But I knew it wasn't just a falsehood. It was a mask. Pointer had found something from the era of Misted Mansion.
The golden beetle.
So where did he get the beetle?
I cannot be sure. But I theorize that he received it in the post.
In the post? From who?
Who can say? Someone outside Tangle Tower. But the thought that he would be in contact with such a person, all that time, I decided to take what was owed to me.
So you stole it.
Stealing the beetle turned out to be only the first step. Upon realizing it was gone, Pointer made little effort to disguise his frustration. I asked what was bothering him. He foresaw no risk in sharing a little of the truth with his niece. He told me he'd lost a rare treasure, something he'd been keeping safe. I suggested, innocently, that perhaps it was not lost. Perhaps it had been stolen. He was very ready to believe he'd been the victim of theft. When I offered to call in a private detective, he jumped on the idea. She arrived the next day. Hawkshaw prides herself on her punctuality, as you know.
Why, though? Why go through all that? The name, the costume, and everything?
It's somewhat sad to admit, but I had little use left for Penny Pointer as she was. Hawkshaw afforded me new advantages, opportunities.
But didn't you have to pretend to be working for Professor Pointer?
Well, that was one of the advantages. Pointer was in such a desperate state, he was finally willing to share some of his secrets. On the second day, Hawkshaw explained she needed to be able to search the secret laboratory. Pointer gave in and gave me the code for the harp statue. Reluctantly, but still.
So, you stole Pointer's research?
I would have done, if I'd found anything worth stealing. But he had made remarkably little progress, barely scratching the surface of the beetle's true mystery.
Which is?
It carries an exoskeleton approximately 90% identical to gold. But it's not the 90% I'm interested in. Did you ever question what exactly makes the water here so unique? Before Misted Mansion was built over the lake, before the lake was even a lake, Lord Remington and his wife built a small structure here, a research station, supposedly. Fast forward 2 or 3 generations, and as you saw for yourself, it's been mostly cleared out.
The ambassadors took everything when they left.
And everything they didn't take was burned in the incinerator. However, possessing additional insight, I found something the others had missed. It's not much, but I have what I need.
So why isn't this the end of the story? Why did you stay? Why did you kill Freya?
The Will of Freya Fellow. I will say it's interesting what I did and didn't remember of this story, because, like I said, I have played this before, but it was a long time ago. So I remembered that she did it, but I kind of forgot all of this backstory stuff. Alright, the last thing, presumably.
Simply put, Freya was too good for me. It's my fault. I pushed her over the edge, unknowingly, but still, I take the blame.
What are you talking about?
Did you know I based the design for Hawkshaw on something Freya painted?
Yes.
That's right. I had assumed it was purely abstract. I just thought it had a good energy. I later discovered it was a figure of some kind, something from Freya's recurring nightmare. For all her vitality, I think Freya was probably the most troubled of all of us. She was desperate to leave Tangle Tower, but she couldn't just walk away. For quite some time, she'd been trying to break into Pointer's laboratory. Freya and her friends were halfway through deciphering those symbols on the harp statue, I believe.
Why did she care about getting into Pointer's lab?
That's exactly what I wondered. At first, I thought perhaps she just wanted to free the beetles. She has a fondness for them. What Pointer was doing upset her significantly. But in fact, I think it was something else. I think she wanted to free Fiona.
Fiona?
The real reason Freya was unable to leave Tangle Tower is that she could not get Fiona to agree to come with her. We're now firmly in the realm of speculation, but I think Freya felt that exposing the darker secrets of Tangle Tower, not just to the rest of the family, but to the world, would compromise all three families, and perhaps, somehow, free Fiona from the shackles of her inheritance. That was her plan anyway, but something happened. Before Freya could find her way into Pointer's laboratory.
She found her way into your study, found your notes, found that photograph. I'm willing to bet she put it all together quicker than we did.
So she worked out what had happened to the 5 ambassadors. Specifically, what you'd done to them when they refused to help you.
Oh, she did kill them. So she's
Freya had made
a serial killer
promise to paint Flora
at this point.
as a birthday gift, a parting gift no less. She'd be in a locked room, several hours away from her friends. It was my best chance.
But why hide in the attic? And why bother with the beetle at all?
The beetle in the gramophone wasn't for Freya. It was for Flora. She didn't deserve to be involved. She suffered enough. I couldn't get Flora out of the room, but if she could be unconscious, then she wouldn't have to witness anything.
Why the knife? The illusion of the painted knife with the blood.
That was for Fiona. And Poppy too, I suppose. Gave them something to focus on.
You mean it distracted them while you made your escape?
It helped them cope. The very idea of something abstract, something supernatural. I believe it made things marginally less painful for them, initially. Worked on you, too.
So why are you still here? Why not take your first chance and leave?
Well, I've been waiting for an opportunity to get my beetle back. I'd really rather not leave without it.
Wait, it's still here?
It's still inside the gramophone.
I didn't like that. Who dragged us all the way out here?
What's going on?
Poppy, they are both awake.
I can see.
You two all right?
I'm not. I have headphones on. It wasn't that bad, but it definitely was worse with headphones on than when I played this before without headphones on.
My head hurts. What happened to us?
You were both unconscious. 14 minutes by my count.
Really?
You're both fine. No injuries.
Was it the beetle? In the gramophone? I heard it through the ceiling in my room.
The exact same sound we heard before the murder.
I guess it must have been.
So how did we get down here? What happened to Penny?
Fit saved both of you, obviously.
When I reached Flora's tower, you were both unconscious, and Penny was crouched down beside you. She had her crossbow on her, but who knows? She may have just been checking you were both asleep.
Did you know that she was the murderer?
Poppy and Fifi suspected her. Apparently, they were pretty close to solving it themselves.
Fitz did not want to believe us, because he liked Penny. A lot.
But what happened? Fitz, what did she do when she saw you?
She jumped out the window.
What? Did she survive?
She did.
I heard something land in the garden outside my room, but by the time I got out there to check, she was already gone.
Hang on. Poppy, why do you have Penny's hat bird?
That's
She
what I
left him behind. I found him sitting on the floor in the aviary, all by himself. Poor
Aw.
little thing. The mean lady didn't care about you at all, did she? No, she didn't.
I apologize. Poppy seems to be under the illusion that the bird can understand human language.
So, Penny got away.
That was cute.
I'm afraid she did.
We had suspected she might try to escape. I was stationed here by the lake's edge. I proved to be an ineffective guard. She took the boat.
Did she take the beetle with her?
Nope,
How do you know?
because it's right here.
It was still in the gramophone. I guess I scared her off before she had a chance to take it.
Poppy, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to give it back to your father?
No, I'm not. It doesn't belong to anyone. So, I'm going to put it on the ground and never bother it again. I think that's what she would have wanted.
And that's the end of Tangle Tower. I'm glad I could share with you this beautiful little game. There's a sequel coming out soon. And there's also, well, technically this was a follow-up to a game called Detective Grimoire, which I also have. So if you would be interested in seeing me do a playthrough of that, I haven't played it before, so that one, I won't have to, like, worry about whether or not I'm pointing out things that aren't obvious or not. Hey, so before the video ends, I have a real quick announcement to make. I now have a community Discord server! Vibrant's Art Squad is a server for all types of artists, creatives, and art lovers alike. It is meant to be a safe place where we can share our work and support each other. We have defined art as not just exclusively painting and drawing, but any creative medium. So here you can share not just your artworks, but also your musics, photography, writing, videos, etc. There's also a forums channel where you can ask people to help you brainstorm new ideas. Everything I post on social media, I also post here, so you never miss a thing. And there's even a channel just specifically for everything related to my comic Vibrant, so it's easier to find. Please come check us out, we'd love to have you. Anyway guys, that's gonna be it for today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!